If you are getting ready to have your first baby and be a mom for the first time, and you're wondering, oh my gosh, how the heck am I gonna do this? You come to the right place. I'm Ashley, and I've had 4 kids in 5 years, and this is the advice I would give to you. One thing that's really helped me survive motherhood, not just survive, but like thrive in motherhood, is that I need people. I am a social being. Most of us are social beings. That's how we are wired, especially if you are a woman. We tend to be the more social of the two between men and women. You gotta find your people. You gotta find your friends, your new friends. If you don't have any friends that are gonna be moms, you need some people that can hang out with you and your kids. It does get lonely at times. Just to be able to randomly text somebody and vent to them about not being able to cook dinner because your kid keeps whining and crying and both of you are hungry, or you're simply just that you're frustrated about something that came up. Sometimes they're just little ankle biter situations that come up and they're annoying, but like they do add up and they happen a lot. It's just helpful to be able to text somebody randomly at midnight and complain, and then you both laugh about it and then you move on with your day. Or to be able to just meet up with another mom friend and catch up on how your lives are going and learn from each other and help each other and walk with each other through the journey of motherhood, because it does get lonely. It does get lonely being the only adult at home taking care of the kids all day. If you are a working mom, that can also be lonely because you might be in an environment where there's not a lot of other moms going through the same season of life as you, and that in and of itself is challenging because you're having to do 2 really big full-time jobs at the same time. Finding your tribe is so key. If you have friends that are having kids kind of around the same time as you, that is perfect. That's great because you already have relationships with these people, and it's actually really special to be able to grow into a new chapter with your friends or your family and going through similar situations together. But if not, that's totally okay. I have found that social media and Facebook groups in particular have been a gold mine for finding other mom friends. In fact, we started homeschooling this year, and so I knew that I really wanted to find a community of other homeschooling moms that I can hang out with so that we can do this homeschool thing together. There's plenty of mom Facebook groups out there. If you just type in where you're from, mom group or something like that, I'm sure you'll find something. You might need to join a few, but chime in on the conversations that are already happening. Maybe you need to post a question that you might have, or just simply introduce yourself and put yourself out there. You might be an introvert and it might be a little uncomfortable, but pushing yourself to do that will pay off in dividends. It's hard to explain how much you are going to need your community of people until you are actually in it and you're like, oh crap, this is super hard to do by myself. Until you're in that space, it's really hard to convey into words how exactly that feels. But if you find some people to walk through this season of life with you, it's gonna make your life 10 times more fun and manageable. Another thing I would say to a new mom is to not be afraid to ask for help. I know sometimes this can come with the challenge of people saying, oh, well, I'll totally help you, just let me know. And then you reach out and you ask for help and then they don't help. That happens, but don't stop trying. And this kind of goes back to the tribe situation. My tribe heavily consists of my mom, my mother-in-law, and my cousins, and we all just like, if I need help with childcare, or if I just need someone to go with me, oh, and my siblings, they help out a lot too. Shout out to my brother and sister. They help me out quite a bit, and I don't know what I would do without them. I'm not afraid to ask for help. In turn, I also try to do a lot to return the favor. So if I can pass on some money to them in exchange for help, then I try and do that. I always try and make myself available to them if they need something, and I do my best to stand by my word and follow through with the things that I say. If you need help, no one knows to help you if you don't ask for it. And what happens is, if you end up staying on your own new mom island and you're not asking for help, you're not really going to be able to thrive in the way that you could. You're doing everything by yourself. Maybe you have the help of your husband or your partner or whoever. I know a lot of times you're probably scared to just put yourself out there or ask for help because you are so used to doing things on your own. You don't want to inconvenience anybody, but you might be surprised sometimes, especially if it's another mom, how willing they are to help you out, especially because they know what you're going through. So do yourself a favor, just get over yourself, ask for help. If they say, no, I can't, not right now, try again another time. And if you find that these people that you're consistently asking for help are not able to help, branch out, make some new friends, build that relationship so that you can ask each other for help. And so that's also why I love the find your community, find your tribe piece of advice thing, because that kind of rolls into the whole asking for help tip. You're gonna need help. Don't be too scared or too stubborn to ask for it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. For the love of all things beautiful, please get out of the house. Go out, do something. I don't care if you go stroll around at Target. I don't care if you go to a coffee shop and just sit down with your baby. I don't care if you're just driving around and just literally getting yourself out of the house. Do something to get yourself out of your four walls. If you're watching this and you have multiple kids and you're wondering, how the heck do I do that if I have more than one kid and I'm by myself? I'm gonna link another video that talks more about that in depth, because I feel like I've got that down to a science. Is that the phrase? I feel like I've got that down to an art. Is it a science or an art? I've got it down. I can help you in that department for sure. If you're anything like me and you're like, oh my gosh, I go so stir crazy being at home 2 days straight. My personal sweet spot is having an outing one day, staying home the next day, and just alternating. Sometimes, depending on where I am in my cycle, I'm feeling more social, I'm feeling more energetic, and so I will probably go out multiple days back to back and feel like I have the energy for it. It just depends. Sometimes even just a simple car ride where your baby is just safely sleeping in the back seat, not running around needing your attention a whole lot, getting in the car and going for a drive and going to get coffee and listening to music, listening to a podcast, talking on the phone, sitting in silence, whatever it is that you need to do. Sometimes even just something simple like that can be so life-giving. I think if you're overwhelmed and anxious about the idea of like going out of the house by yourself with your baby for the first time and it's giving you anxiety because of all of the unknowns, practice it. Know that you are more flexible than you probably think you are. You're able to pivot and you're able to adapt if something goes wrong. Changing your environment and your atmosphere can really do wonders for your mood. If you are having a hard time because of the hormones that are shifting around as you go through your postpartum season and you're not sleeping well, baby's crying and eating all the time, there's just all of these other factors that are driving you crazy, you just need a change of scenery. I don't care if you just go to your mom's house down the street. I mean, literally just go anywhere. Give yourself a reason to get up, maybe even get dressed and make yourself look and feel good if that's something that you feel like you're up to. But if not, get up and get out of the house. One of the reasons why I like the get out of the house tip is because it does force you to get out of your pajamas and your sweats and to make yourself look and feel presentable so that you look good and you feel good. It's one of those psychological things that when you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of feeling myself, it does something to your brain and just gives you a little pep in your step, and you can go about your day with that extra boost of confidence and energy. You also need to find ways to take care of you. And I'm also going to include the link to this video when it's ready, either in the description or maybe somewhere on screen. When you become a mom and as you have more kids and you're taking care of your children and making sure that the needs of your relationship are met, and maybe you have things going on at work, whatever it is you have going on, you have to really prioritize how you're gonna show up for yourself so that you don't burn out and so you don't run yourself into the ground. It's okay to be a hot mess mom sometimes, but we should avoid trying to be just like living in the state of hot mess mom, because we could be doing more for ourselves. And when we do that for ourselves, we are able to show it better for our families. We're better moms, we're better wives, we're better at work. You have to make that time for you, frankly, because you deserve it. You do a lot. You got to make sure that you're staying on top of what you need. I think it's safe to say that when you're going through motherhood for the first time, it's important to manage your expectations. Keeping up with your house, it's a great example of being realistic. If you are used to things always being tidy and in order, especially if you're one of those people where clutter really like gives you anxiety and it makes you feel some type of way, I think it's important to, number one, like, yes, I totally get that. Later on, you can kind of figure out how you are going to still maintain your space in your home in this new season of your life. In the beginning, it's important to consider, okay, I'm not sleeping through the night. My baby is changing clothes and diapers a million times a day. I'm just trying to survive right now. It's important to be realistic about how often we're gonna be able to tend to the house. It depends on what your situation is. Like, how often is your spouse able to take care of the home? Like, what is that going to look like as you move into a season of taking care of your baby and you're having to focus more on doing that? Is your spouse going to fill in the gaps if you were doing most of the housekeeping before? If not, how can you compromise so that they can do some things, like non-negotiable things, for example? Maybe like the dishes are like always need to be done, and what can you let go of? Like, can you let go of having clutter in certain places? Eventually, once you get into a routine and you've got like the nap time, the feeding, the play, the whatever, your routine down, then that's when you can figure out where housekeeping fits into all of that. But until you get that to that phase, you just have to manage your expectations. More than likely, not going to be kept tidy the way that it was pre-kids. That's just the reality of it. You're so busy taking care of your new little baby. That's okay. If your house is messy, what is the worst that could happen? If it does give you anxiety, like, I totally get that, because I get that way too. Like, if there's too much mess, it drives me absolutely insane, and I feel like I can't be clear-headed. I have to come to terms with that. There's not a whole lot I can do about the situation that I'm in right now, but what it can do is change my mindset and how I look at things. I think if you understand that everything is not forever, everything is temporary, every phase that you are in is temporary, I feel like that may give you some peace when things become difficult. Just know that this is not going to last forever. There will be a point in time where you can get back to having your tidy home or whatever that might be. You can apply that same principle of knowing that everything is temporary. What can you do to shift your mindset to adapt to whatever scenario that you are currently in? I think those two things are super important for managing expectations. If you're here and you're a first-time mom, please let me know when you're expecting in the comments below, or when your baby's birthday was. My fourth and most recent baby was born in June, so at the time of filming, she is almost 6 months old, and I cannot believe how fast time has flown by. You will know exactly what I'm talking about when you get to that point. It's so cliche, but it's so true. Time really is a thief. My goal of this YouTube channel is to share my experience as a mom of four and an entrepreneur and a homeschooler, and to pass that on to you if that's something that you are seeking or that you're going through. If you want to follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description. I think Instagram is a space where I just share like the behind the scenes of my life. I love creating content on Instagram. I love hanging out in stories and interacting with people through that platform. So you can follow me there if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and congrats on your baby. Oh my God.